Hey folks, Carla Sands here, putting in a plug for Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truthcast.
Hi, friends. Gene Valentino. We've got to get on this herpes virus and attack it at its source. If you're tired of these cold sore breakouts caused by the herpes virus, you've got to discover this product I'm on board with. It's called Herplex, the natural homeopathic remedy that works on your body's defenses. Visit buyherplex.com/Gene. Do it today and save 25% on your first order by using the discount code GENE25. Throw that code in there and you got yourself a discount. Let's conquer herpes and cold sores together.
Gene Valentino, the Velvet Hammer Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's our man, and he is with us. Good morning, Gene.
Your Velvet Hammer's with you. How's Michael Pohl feeling after his little respite last
Well,
week?
I had to have back surgery. Yeah, I've talked about it this week. My first day back was Wednesday. I was a week out. It wasn't terrible, but the first 2 or 3 days are pretty rough.
Yeah, well, glad to have you back.
It's good to be here. So there's a lot we can talk about. The year has been an unbelievable year with all of the things that are going on with the Trump administration, with the craziness surrounding trying to get illegal aliens out of our country. We saw where a judge was found guilty last night, late, that we got the verdict in. Her name was Judge Dugan, I believe, and the grand jury or the jury found her guilty of obstruction of justice, felony obstruction of justice. So now she is not going to be able to be a judge anymore. Is this a message, Gene, as we start to get some of these cases into court and find out, that these people are actually guilty of committing crimes here in the United States against our government?
I guess there's a part of me that wishes justice would move faster, Michael. But then again, there's a part of me that is glad it's deliberate, it's painfully slow at times. It intends to get it right. In this case, Judge Dugan should lose her position as judge because she overstepped her bounds. She's an example of what's going on in a broader sense throughout the nation, where the judiciary, the justice system, is interfering with the law enforcement system and more generally the administration and legislative branches of government. We are experiencing a overreach. I wish the justice system, that judge, all the way up to the Supreme Court, would exercise what they really have authority to do, and that's to to do what's called a declaratory rulings or declaratory judgments. Instead of trying to rule on an existing event when it finally happens, try to set a message from the judiciary's point of view of their position on a given topic. For example, illegal aliens. To what extent is an American an American? Is it by birth or is it by some process that we agree to put in place to validate and legitimize that person, the person who is an American citizen? You see, we have overreached in certain areas and underreached in other areas. It's clear to me, and I think to you, that the judiciary worldwide, that nationwide, has overreached in many respects and become agnostic and look the other way in another sense. And the judiciary needs to get back on its duties of judging the law, not writing the law from the bench. And that's where we have overstepped. The biggest error on the part of the judiciary, in my opinion, in the last 5 to 7 years in particular, is the way they've treated Donald Trump, the way they've adjudicated illegal immigrants coming in over the line, the way they've deported them going back to their homeland. the way they've allowed local cities, towns, and states to um, legitimize the presence of an illegal alien, to me is judiciary overreach. Their authority could have been best spent slapping the hands of the local and state level justices like this Dugan and putting them in their place not to overreach. That accused had a right to a hearing in a court of law, regardless of her prejudice. And that accused never got it because she escorted him out the back door. You couldn't ask for a more egregious misuse of the judiciary. So I think, Michael, the time is coming where we're going to see some major changes in the judiciary. And I said it to you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and here we are in December of 2025. I'll say it again. We need some constitutional amendments because whether it's a judge or an elected official, legislative or administrative, we can't trust people. We need the respect and honor of that unwielding document called the Constitution to be firm and absolute in its rendering. That means that elected officials who come and go should not be, or judges that come and go, should not be passing judgment or making it up on the fly as they've been doing the last 5 to 7 to 10 years. We need to have a constitutional amendment like the First and Second Amendments to our Constitution, quite absolute, quite clear, no dispute, and that's what we need with some of these issues, including immigration.
Excuse me, presidential power is something that has, over the years, they have the Congress, the courts. You've seen a lot of things happen, and I'm sort of nebulous on this idea, but let me just say this. I believe Donald Trump thinks, and I believe he's right, that the president is the power of the executive branch of the government. And anytime you have separate agencies that are supposedly not under the president, but they do executive functions, all of these kind of things, I think Donald Trump is doing something that's so important, even though it's really aggravating to sit around and watch. He is saying that the president of the United States is the executive branch. And if you work in the executive branch, I can hire you, I can fire you, I can do whatever I want, because if I can't do that, then the people have no say in what's going on in the government. And that's what's happened to our government over the last 50, 75 years. We've seen our government turn into something that the president has very little authority over.
Yeah.
The system runs itself. And
Well,
nobody has to be scared to be fired. So
well, I
that's
wish
just a
that
thought.
was what you just said, part of social studies class 101 and political science 101. The fact of the matter is, can the teachers listening start teaching the Constitution again? Both at the high school level and at the college level. We need to make sure that the students understand the importance not only of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the other amendments, everything related to our founding documents, because they speak so clearly and they answer any ambiguities. Here's what I know, and you know. We don't trust elected officials. We don't trust them. They come and go. They're bad actors. And sometimes, because there's no term limits, they end up worrying about how to put me ahead of we. And that's always been a concern of mine. You've heard me talk about on these shows. We need sound revisions to the Constitution that reflect the pain and suffering we're feeling. To your point you mentioned a minute ago, thank God Donald Trump has taken the helm on Venezuela. Do you think we'd want this in, whether it's Jeffrey Epstein issues or Venezuela? Do you want the Congress to be adjudicating and making rules over these issues? They'd have themselves in a spin for months and years. They can't even get it straight right now on Obamacare and balancing a budget. How can we expect them to come up with an answer on anything? And the point I'm making is, you're right. Donald Trump and the third leg of the stool in our Constitution, the administrative branch, authorize him to take control of the leadership of this nation. It swings both ways. If it was 4 years ago, we'd have Biden, and I'm not sure we'd want that kind of leadership. But God willing, the Constitution gives us the ability to take, for the president to take control and lead this nation when the legislative branch can't, when the judiciary can't, as evidenced by the antics and their stupidity in the news headlines these past few days, weeks, and years.
You know, I'm looking at the Constitution right now, Article 2, Section 1, and it states very simply this statement: the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. That's it. That's his power. That's what they say the president is supposed to be. He is the executive over the executive branch, and he makes decisions about who works for the executive branch. And that's why elections have consequences, because he's the guy that's going to be able to appoint all the people that run the government. Obviously, he cannot run the government by himself. He has to have help to do it. So he's got a cabinet. He's got people that work for the different agencies. But the president has the authority, always has, and probably always will now, because the Supreme Court, I believe, is going to end up saying, hey, he's right. You gotta respect the presidency. It says so in the Constitution. So it's just simple. I mean, it's they try to make it sound complicated, but the truth is that the president should be able to fire anybody. And I'm talking about the Federal Reserve. I'm talking about the FTC, all of these organizations that they have created, that they have taken the power away from the president. It's not constitutional. And
yeah, very well stated, Michael. Think of whom in government is trying to take power away from Trump. Therein lies your Marxist and socialist. It's a dilution of the authority vested in this document right here. God willing, it lasts. We're approaching the 250th anniversary of this nation, and that will be a tearful day for me, because I know my Italian grandfather, who could barely speak English, could not be prouder than he was. And my wife's grandfathers as well could not have been as proud as they were to stand up and defend this nation from because it represents liberty and freedom, true liberty, true freedom. I have a podcast we've been promoting. It's called the Grassroots Truthcast podcast. It's a www.genevalentino.com takes you to the Grassroots Truthcast, and there you'll see 4 years plus of WMXI and Gene Valentino doing this every Friday morning with Ted Tibbett. We couldn't be happier, because we've talked about these issues over the years, and you know what? We've been consistent, Michael.
Yeah, we have.
We've been consistent in our opinion.
We were also right about so many things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just incumbent upon ourselves to carry the torch in the future, and hopefully the listeners will too, to carry the torch to all your elected officials and make sure they honor and respect this Constitution. But remember, there's an art of bad behavior, people knowing how to gerrymander the system. We need constitutional amendments to take elected people out of office, term limits, that is, and consequences for bad behavior from the same elected people if they don't balance the budget for all of us.
Merry Christmas, Gene.
Merry Christmas to you, Ted, and the entire Pine Belt. What an honor doing this show with you. Hi, friends. Gene Valentino. We've got to get on this herpes virus and attack it at its source. If you're tired of these cold sore breakouts caused by the herpes virus, you've got to discover this product I'm on board with. It's called Herplex, the natural homeopathic remedy that works on your body's defenses. Visit buyherplex.com/Gene. Do it today and save 25% on your first order by using the discount code GENE25. Throw that code in there and you got yourself a discount. Let's conquer herpes and cold sores together.